Hello, this is EJ, Eric Johnston, the brand.
And Coach Aaron Thigpen, the source.
Aaron, our topic today is really on the road during competition with our athletes when they're out on the road trip. And a lot of kids are playing games right now, as you know, whether it's matches, whether it's a baseball game, basketball game, track meets, stuff like that. A lot of stuff is going on out there, gymnastics, water polo, et cetera, and what do the kids do when the competition's over? You know, they've had their match for the day. You know, how do they recover? What do they do if they're in between games? Maybe they have a day off, or what do they need to do on a regular basis to still train and still compete? It's something that I think parents and athletes are confused about a lot of times, and there's a lot of downtime to where they really could benefit with some sort of training regimen or some sort of activity that helps them with their sport. That's the topic today.
Yeah, no, it's a good subject, and it's timely because we got all these kids on the road right now.
Right.
You know, I'm an always moving forward guy. So, and that's not just because I'm in the training business, it's because I'm in the getting better business, you know, and I'm interested in what's going to make the kids better. And obviously drawing upon my own experience, yeah, there is a lot of downtime in between your track meets, your races, your, basketball competitions. And yeah, I get it. I guess first and foremost, you want to have fun. And I get that. But you also want to balance that with being a proper athlete. And so you've got a few different facets that you always want to be aware of. You've got your recovery,
right?
And then you've got your training, and then you've got your relaxation, and then you've got your fun time. So, maybe you break it up into those sorts of things, and that might help you put your activities in those boxes, and now you can share that time and spread it across all of those things and get everything done. Just from a recovery standpoint, I think that most athletes, once they're through recovering for the day, immediately shut down. Go take that 10, 20-minute nap, fuel the body, and then, decide what you want to do with the rest of the day. I would do that in between competitions, and I would do that after competitions. I was at a U.S. Indoor Championships one year myself, and my roommate was looking for me, and he finally found me, and I was asleep under the bleachers. He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Man, I'm taking a nap." I had probably another hour or two before my race. Went and lied down. But it's a great way to shut the body down, shut the adrenaline off so that you have it for your next competition, and refocus your thoughts. Maybe put your strategy together if you're in that type of sport. All of those sorts of things. Wash away maybe some of the mistakes that you made in the previous competition. So I think it's a great thing to do. And then again, you don't have to, slumber for an hour and be Rip Van Winkle or something, but you just,
exactly.
It's just a way of kind of stepping out of all of the energy and the madness and just centering yourself.
Aaron, you definitely need to decompress. And what I hear you saying is decompress, let the mind, be free, allow your body to heal, reabsorb, the activity. I think it's important. The other day, Aaron, I tell you this story. I'm here in Arizona with our two teams, and I had an early game, 6:30, 7 o'clock game, and then I had a 1 o'clock game. So I did the 7 o'clock game, went, had something to eat, came back, and I had to go back out for batting practice with the ladder team. So I came in around 10, took a nap, 20 minutes, and then got right back at it. I felt like a new man. They talk about the kids need to get rested. The coach need to get rested too.
Yeah.
But it's no different than an athlete and a coach. Getting prepared and being an ex-athlete. I know how important recovery is when you're playing multiple events or races or games or whatever during the day. And a lot of kids don't know how to turn that off. And they just
Right.
go and they get on the phone. And I always tell our players this, I think it's really important. When you come to rest, turn off your phone.
Yeah.
Turn off the television, turn off all that stuff so you can be ready to go. And
Right.
that's something that's hard for them. But I think if you're really serious about being a next level athlete, you need to get control of how you prepare yourself to be a next level athlete.
Oh yeah. I mean, what I see all the time is you got the athletes, they finish a competition and they're still kind of pumped up. They're still bouncing off the walls. They're, in the bleachers socializing,
Right.
or maybe they're refueling incorrectly. They're eating that hot dog and nachos that they've been smelling all day.
It's so good.
All of those sorts of things without thinking that, hey, you know what? I've got to gear back up in a couple of hours or 4
Right.
hours or whatever the case may be. Or they have those long breaks and all they do is they're on their feet the whole time, or they're out in the elements, they're out in the sun,
Right.
those sorts of things. I mean, I'd be at a track meet and it'd be hot out and other athletes would be sitting out in the bleachers or maybe even if they went under the stands, I'd find an open building with air conditioning on and would chill in there, because the competitions were usually at colleges. So I
Right.
would try and make myself as comfortable as possible so that I could recover properly, especially if I didn't have the opportunity to go back to the hotel or something. So I think that the quality of that recovery, even if it's not that long, should be, good quality recovery. In other words, eating the right things, getting the right rest, decompressing in the right way.
Right. I like that. Aaron, I think the training part of it's kind of important because I see a lot of athletes just go to competitions and they just play the games and that's
Yeah.
they're done with it. And they may be at a competition for a week, and that's for a week and they're game or they're playing their match, that's it, and they're having trouble. So, and you and I talk about this quite a bit about athletes during the season or during the summer having exercise regimens that are planned out during the week that they can execute, and then also monitor how well their body's recovering to continue to train and be smart about their training during the week. Because I believe an athlete needs to train when they're on the road to maintain the consistency, the endurance, and the sharpness of their performance when they're competing that week.
Yeah, I agree. And you said the key word, plan. So all athletes, regardless of the duration of their travel, should, before they even leave, have some kind of travel workout devised. And they should probably have two of them. One that requires no equipment or very little equipment, and then one that might be more
Okay.
full blown if they're at a facility or have access to facilities that have a lot more equipment. So it does two things. Well, it requires two things. One, having something maybe written down, and they don't have to be full blown workout routine.
Right.
But you maybe have a 15-minute workout, or maybe you have, if it's days in between, you have your regular routine, and maybe you have a couple of variations based on if you have, again, no equipment or a little equipment, or maybe you travel with some equipment, and
Right.
you bring some things that you can continue to use during that period of time. So all it takes is just a little foresight and saying, okay, what I think I'm gonna need. Hey, this hotel has a gym. What's in the gym?
Right.
Look it up online and say, okay, you know what? I can get this done. And there, it's not rocket science. The other thing I would also look at is have different, I guess, modes of training based on how your body is responding after the workouts. And yeah, that might take, maybe a little bit more expertise, but then talk to someone about that. Say, hey, I would like to do this, but my arm is really sore, or my legs are really sore from being on the court all day, or something. What are some modifications, or what are some recovery activities that are now a little bit more advanced than what we normally, might do in terms of just the rest and the stretching? But maybe you find the hot tub that's or maybe you get into the hotel pool, or you can, some athletes, some of my professional athletes, they would go to those cryo chambers. We'd be on the road and they would find a cryo chamber. So, there's usually resources around. It just depends on, obviously your mobility, your own financial resources and time available. But there's always things that you can do. There's the infamous ice baths. I call them infamous. I don't like them. So
I didn't like them either, but I did them. I recovered. My legs were a lot better at the end of the day.
And, for those, it's as simple as we used to travel sometimes with just Ziploc baggies, those 1 gallon Ziploc baggies. And, every hotel has an ice machine. Well, you fill them up and now you got ice packs.
Right.
So, you could just be creative, but in other words, cover all your bases and think about all the different, scenarios that you might have to go through. And that way you can pack accordingly and plan accordingly.
I think that's really important that, most kids that set out into summer travel, and some people gone for 2 weeks, 3 weeks at a time, or 2 weeks, that kind of stuff needs to be planned out, because that's a lot of empty hours during the day after or before competition that they could get some really meaningful work done that helps them in during the competition. Exactly. So I like what you say there.
The last thing I guess I would say is, scheduling fun. Hey, you guys are young. You want these also to be experiences, not just, another competition. Because, it's something that you can look back on with some fond memories, especially if you have that time to kind of go out and do some things. You might remember some of the things you did with some buddies, and that's all part of the athletic experience. I was more mercenary about it during my day, where I was sequestered in the hotel. I didn't go out and do a whole lot, and that's kind of regret for me, because I've been to places all over the world, but most I saw, some of them were the hotel room, and so I would suggest that that's not what you do, but plan the time and say, hey, okay, when are my competitions? When is it appropriate for me to go maybe do some of these extracurricular things that won't affect my performance? Maybe you only go out for a couple of hours instead of staying out all night. Maybe you do something, if your competition is later in the evening, well, maybe you just don't go out, or you do something else that's a little bit less taxing. When it was things like that, we just go to the movies. It's a way of getting out, but it's not as stimulating as, walking around all day or doing some other types of activities. So I think you still can place those activities inside your day or inside your stay. You just got to understand the effects that they're going to have on your performance and strategically place them in the right spot. But yeah, I wouldn't suggest sequestering yourself.
Well, what do they call it, Aaron? Work-life balance, right?
Yes.
You gotta be balanced with what you do, and I think a lot of the young athletes are understanding that now. And I was like you too. I was sequestered in that hotel room and was really focused on my competition. But I've been to some great places that I missed out on, and I think now as a coach, I go out and see the places when I'm out and about now.
Exactly. I wholeheartedly tell the kids, go out, explore these places if you can, take pictures, because they're going to be fond memories. Otherwise, all that stuff is going to blur together, and you miss one of the biggest gifts that sports can give you.
Right. Well, Aaron, I think this wraps up what we wanted to talk about on the road and what we do on the road. And remember, sports fans, this is Coach EJ, the brand,
and Coach Aaron, the source. We'll see you.